Right.
Well, I think we've done all our promo, Matt. Now we can say things, which I have to say is my favourite part of any podcast is the saying things bit, Matt.
I had noticed that about you.
Oh, I'm a talker. It comes in handy. In fact, I remember interviewing for a radio spot. They asked me a one question, and I answered it. And I realised at one point that I had been talking for 5 minutes solid, based on one question. I said, well, I apologise, but I'm assuming you do want people who can talk. At least, at least that's demonstrated that I can talk. Even though I've I'm starting to talk about my trips to South America, and they're like, we were asking your date of birth, sir. Let's
Right.
do it.
Yeah.
Tell you what, I'll put me on screen. Hello, and then we can play the theme music. What's it called? Intro music. It's only one button press. I don't know why I'm hovering over it. I guess nerves. Get nervous. Oh my God, we're starting a podcast thing. Hi everyone, and welcome to the Remain Indoors podcast, where we explore some lighter news from around the internet. We have a grumble when required, and talk about the ways we're keeping ourselves entertained at home. Remain indoors. And we bring you a fine selection of our internet, podcast and radio friends to tell you exciting and interesting things about their lives and their worlds. I'm also joined, as always, by Matt. Two rumpets. How's it going, Matt?
It's going great. Yeah, today is the day of apocalyptic weather here in New York. We
Yeah.
have a windstorm coming.
I know, as if you haven't got enough problems, let's just chuck a few storms in there, New York.
Yeah, well, at least it wasn't a volcano erupting, which also happened over the weekend. So, I mean, I'll take it where I'll take whatever comfort we can get in these times.
I'm all for doing that whole, well, someone's always got it worse off. Yes, we're struggling with the mortgage, but there's people without enough resources. But I can't not feel sorry for myself because there's a volcano somewhere else in the planet. I can't just go, yes, my house has fallen down, but at least I'm not in a volcano. I'm allowed to whinge about the small things that happen to me.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. You must whinge, but it does help to keep it in perspective.
No, you don't tell me what to do. I'm keeping nothing in perspective. The weather has turned, actually, here as well. We had a glorious weekend, and now it's like we've got a cold snap, it's windy. But this was the day that we were meant to be hiring a motor caravan and going off on a long weekend in our caravan, in this motorhome. What do you call them? Like Winnebagos or whatever. But it's basically a small house on wheels.
Yeah, we call them motorhomes or I
Motorhome,
don't
there
know.
we go.
But there's a whole subculture of people who basically retire and live in them and just drive around the country and live in different campgrounds, which just astonishes me no end.
I can see the appeal. We've done it once before and we had a really good time. They're reasonably expensive to hire, but the kids loved it so much. This was going to be like our annual getaway. We never booked it, so we haven't lost any money. But we were looking out the window and we were going, oh, we would have been really annoyed if, we'd been looking forward to this trip. We'd have had one day of sun and then the rest would have been terrible. So we go, well, there we go. We might be in the middle of a global pandemic, but at least our motorhome holiday wasn't ruined by slightly suboptimal weather.
The real Americans in the chat are telling me they're called RVs, recreational vehicles.
RVs. Okay, I'm calling it an RV now. From now on, I will also call it an RV in solidarity for the fine Americans in the chat room who have joined us on this fine morning. Let's see if I can switch to the chat. That's not worked on the video. That looks weird. I'll switch back to Matt. Adam, Lucas, Tom, John, Daniel, thank you for joining us. We are Remain Indoors on the YouTubes, and you can subscribe to us there. Quite a few subscribers building up, so thank you. You obviously enjoy listening to our random waffle and the interesting people we bring on, like radio presenter, TV guy, all-round entertainer, model. I'm going to go with model, Tim Linden.
Okay, where have you got model from? I don't know.
I was looking at your starlight.
I guess she's just looking. Do you know what? I should caught the sun last couple of days. Who needs to go abroad when you can just enjoy Norfolk? I'm from Norfolk, by the way.
Okay, so for people who don't know Norfolk, it's fine. I mean, you've got coast. It's okay, but you are like on the North Sea, that coast.
Yeah, well, I tell you what though, whilst we're all in lockdown and we have some sunny weather, even though people are banned from coming to the coast, it's actually nice to be living by the coast. I mean, I live literally on the top of a cliff. I can see the sea, but like you say, the weather's turned, so it's like cold snap, northerly winds. It's freezing.
How close to the cliff are you? Because I'm just imagining, you know, the Monty Python. They said I was an idiot to build my house on a swamp.
It's pretty close. In fact, and the best thing I love to talk about, I open my window at night and I can hear the sea. Or as from our American friend Matt, the ocean. Although it's not classed as an ocean, it's the sea.
It is a sea.
Yeah, well, we're actually close enough to the harbor that we regularly hear ships and stuff like that. We're just a couple of miles. No cliffs though. That would make me nervous because I've spent my whole life watching houses fall down cliffs in Los Angeles and such.
Yeah, well, there's no erosion on the cliffs where we are. There is further up in California. We've got a place literally called California. Just
that confused me for a moment.
Amazing, right?
So on your internet profiles, you do have in places yourself listed as a model. Is that from your younger days? Is it where because it's a bit optimistic now? Is all I'd say.
I did one bit of modelling for TK Maxx, and that was about 10 years ago. They would never hire me now. Look at the greys.
I have 3 greys as well, but you have the fully side-on grey, and you've managed to have haircuts in the lockdown as well. How have you done that?
Can you tell?
Yeah.
Well, this is the thing, you see. It's been trending on social media and stuff like that, doing the lockdown haircut challenge. And I actually had to go onto YouTube to see how people shave the back of their head without any help. And I actually did it. I did it. And, you know, you got to, for example, if you like have a number 2 at the side, you probably want to go and start off with a number 3 and then do it just gradually. And I just keep doing it until I can't hear it, you know, getting the hair anymore. And then I look in the mirror and go, that looks all right. And that's how I do it.
And is now when we point out to the listeners that he's actually only facing forward and we've not yet seen the back of his head.
Yeah, that's probably a good reason for it.
Yeah, no,
actually.
we might need some rotation on that too.
Well, it doesn't look too bad though, does it? But I tell you what, this is the reason why I keep my hair short at the sides, because of the greys.
Do you like it, or you don't want it too much grey?
Nobody wants. Well, it depends. If you're George Clooney, you can pull it off. I can't.
I wouldn't mind my grey coming in a bit more, because there's an element in your 30s where, you know, when you still get ID'd at supermarkets, which I do, where you go, oh, that's cool, I've still got it. But like at 40, I don't really want an 18-year-old asking me for my driver's license so that I can have a sherry.
Well, what's really funny is you were saying about that, and I think the last time I got ID'd, and you're going to laugh, was about 2 years ago. That was, and I'm 41 now, so I think 39's pretty good going.
Yeah,
I was still ID'd, but it was a lady that looked like my nan, so you know she obviously called me young still. You young'uns.
You can take that. You can take that. Now, me and Tim, we know each other from a brief but glorious spell where you and I were both at BBC Radio Cambridgeshire, and we were doing our Alan Partridge style handovers on a Saturday lunchtime. I have to say, like, I really enjoyed that time with you, doing our little 5 minutes of like, so what's coming up next? I don't know. I haven't planned anything.
Well, some of the conversations we used to get on were probably not very BBC-ish. Like, for example, the time when we talked about the toilets and the awkwardness we had when we kind of was in the toilet at the same time, not in the toilet, in the bathroom, you know.
Okay, so Matt, for context, actually, Tim on 3 weeks in a row talked about my various toilet habits and like, oh, you were gone for quite a long time when you went to the toilet today. That must have been.
But he used to go missing. I think it was his daily poo. He used to go missing at a certain point on a Saturday, and it must have been his daily poo, I reckon.
Yeah, and
it's probably a nervous
producer
poo.
Natalie just goes, yeah, nervous. Well, Lauren was talking about the nervous movements before a run, and maybe it's the same for radio shows. And Natalie would be like, "Where have you gone? Where have you been?" I'm like, how much detail do you want, Nat? So I'm not sure. But I would also go on nervous walks also. Slightly. I was really nervous. I still get nervous, but at that time I was absolutely pantsing it leading up to that little handover.
Big show.
Well, your show was the big show, and I was just coming in at the end of it, and then you would ask me about being in the toilet. But what I realised was that we'd been talking for that 5 minutes, off air. But when we had the bathroom encounters, where we're both like washing our hands at the same time, there was a certain awkwardness because we didn't know each other. And then I would, if I saw you going to the bathroom, I would wait so that I didn't have to wash my hands at the same time as you. And that's not just you, that's just like people in general. I'm quite people phobic.
Yes. Well, I think most people are social awkward. And I can't believe we're getting onto this conversation, but we also had this conversation on the radio as well. The fact that when you go into the toilet, bathroom or whatever, it's always about social distancing, isn't it? Because let's face it, you don't want to get too close, especially if you're wearing flip-flops.
No, that's true. And just for the record, Tim Linden does sit down wheeze. So, that's just...
It's listen, it's called having a treat. Sometimes you've had a hard day, you just want to take the load off, but still go for number one.
Having a treat. I think that's a wife-enforced thing, Tim. I'm not having that.
Well, I live in a house with two women, so I probably just, you probably think, well, I better sit down. Everyone else does.
I think they make him do it, Matt. You live in a house with two women as well. Do they make you do sit down wheeze?
No, but I would be forever excommunicated if I were to leave the seat up.
Good. And that's the sort of thing that you should definitely not talk about on BBC FM local radio. But that's the path that Tim dragged me down. And I have to say, Tim, obviously you're a much more experienced presenter and radio guy than I am. And when you turned up, they go, oh, there's going to be a new guy in that spot before you. And secretly you're going, oh, the guy before.
Please don't be better than me. Please don't be better than me.
No, more than that. I'm like, please be rubbish. Please, just be a gibbering wreck who can't hold. Because if you're the show before me, if you're terrible, then I can only look better. But I was very disappointed. You had a commercial radio background, really slick, never a wasted word. Every word came out, no ums and ahs and all that kind of stuff. And I was like, ah.
Yeah, well, let's face it. I would like to also think that the institution that it is, the BBC, would never put anyone on that would be speaking like that. But, we've all heard of some radio stations and some radio presenters, and you think, how on earth did you get your job on there? But there you go. Let's not go into that right now.
Let's name them. Let's start a BBC. No, let's not do that. But one area where I think I might have had the edge on you was picking topics for radio content. Because I don't feel like they always landed. And I think specifically the one I'm going to bring up now, Tim, don't you?
I think, but just I don't know. Remind me.
Okay, wait, if you do this, if you go, I will take that as your safe. That's your safe words. I'll duck out. But there was one time it had a happy ending, so this is okay. But you had a radio topic which was, what is the strangest thing that you've lost and then found again?
Yes.
And then as you were doing that,
who would have? Yeah, but no one would have. I mean, this was really bad timing, or what? Being a BBC local radio station, we had. Would you want to tell it, or shall I tell it? I mean,
well, at the same time, a story was breaking about a little boy who had gone missing, and there's Tim happily going, "What's the strangest thing you've lost and then found again?"
Yeah, and I think it was either before we said that. I can't remember. Before that news story came out, I think I was talking about some mum who said that she went shopping and she left the kids inside Tesco as she was driving down the road. And of course, and then it was just typical that story would break. And obviously, them being on the BBC, you start sweating a little bit when you get that news story break because you think, oh no, someone's going to complain now.
And I think your tactic was just to drop it as if it had never happened, and you just quickly found something else. I don't think you addressed it in any way.
Well, I didn't think it was probably the best radio to go back into and go, that thing we was talking about, probably not the best thing to continue now, but let's talk about something else. Let's talk about crumpets. Do you burn your crumpets? Have you heard Spanish show? How often do you burn your crumpets?
That is not me. I am not the did you burn your, I'm not the tea on the side or milk first. I'm not the milk first guy.
Yeah, we've done that though. We've done that. And I've done that with many of a radio presenter, the whole milk first. But the thing is you might mock this. And Matt, you probably, I don't know whether it's the same for coffee over in America. I don't know. But over here in the UK, people get very angry when you talk about tea and milk. Should it go first? Should it go last? Should it go during?
I have been exposed to some of these debates as someone who drinks his espressos black. it's not really an issue for me, or coffee, if there's no espresso available. But it is highly amusing to see how thermodynamically involved these conversations will get about which is better than which.
And we're not going to go down that route because that will make me an instant hypocrite for mocking Tim and his crumpet conversations. Oh, it was so fun.
Hang on, I never did crumpet conversations. Don't you dare say that. I was taking a leaf out of your book.
No, he had the crumpet hour, the Tim Linden crumpet hour.
Have you ever heard
special.
of a crumpet before?
Yeah. I've actually been to the UK several times. So
okay, so
I have been to high tea at Bath, no less.
Look, he's doing it again. He's trying to make this show the crumpet hour. No, the Tim Linden crumpet hour is finished.
I never, ever talked about crumpets on the radio.
But the police were out. There was police searches and everything.
And it's all kicked off in the chat room anyway.
They do that.
About the milk debate.
Let's let them have that argument. But Tim, happy ending. We should be very clear. Happy ending. The kid was found again. And I was there.
Thankfully,
I was on the intercom going, Tim, you can start your topic back up again now. They found him.
Yeah, I mean, let's just quickly talk about the intercom thing. Coming from commercial radio, there's not too many intercoms around, but with BBC, there obviously you have a producer, and in the smaller commercial radio world, you kind of just do it all yourself, unless you work for a big station in London. You'd probably then might have a producer, whatever. But the BBC does the whole producer thing. And when Spanners was obviously prepping his show, he would obviously hurl abuse at me through my earpiece. And, there's always an unwritten rule. You don't do that. I mean, like, I come from a TV presenter background. You can kind of handle that when you're doing TV because you only have one ear in, right? So someone's talking to you, so it's fine. But on radio, you have both. So Spanners used to sometimes forget that I was actually about to put the mic up or talk and would say something like rude obscenities at me.
Whoa, that is lies. I would never, Matt. Don't take his word for it. I'm never rude. I'm never obscene. I'm always safe for work. But I'm not beyond like putting the thing on and just whispering, say potassium. In your next link, say the word potassium.
Do you not remember we had this thing where we used to say, I said, oh my God, I have this weird phobia that's just come over me that I'm going to swear. I want to swear. And when we used to have our conversations, you kind of just in natural conversation sometimes might throw in a swear word, especially Spanish.
Yeah.
So, and I thought to myself, oh my God. And I remember saying this to you and the producer, Natalie. I said, I'm scared I'm going to swear one of these days when we're having our handover. But thankfully I didn't.
So since then, like me and Natalie have pretty much cut back on all ops room swearing, and we've tried to cut it out just for that fear. And I think it was after I accidentally said shite on air. Oh, I've got to bleep that now. I don't normally edit this, but I guess I've got to bleep that now, because it was a charity called Speed of Sight, and I was trying to promote it. I was trying to be a good guy and promote this Speed of Sight that provides motorsport experiences for blind people. Speed of Sight. And then I ended up saying speed of that word again.
You know what?
Yeah. You know what. And after that, we were like, look, right, we've got to get all these words out of our head, so let's just not swear at all.
There's a long history of doing these sorts of things. I was on tour one time with a choir, and they sang a song, and the first line of the song was, King Jesus hath a garden full of diverse flowers. So you can imagine how much fun the tour was. But one day, I was playing with brass quintet. We opened up, and then we played with the choir during the performances. We were on tour, and the tuba player leaned over and said, that really sounds like you're singing King Jesus hath a garden full of dinosaurs. And then when they got into that night, no one could sing it without laughing. It was hysterical. Ruined the whole show. It was brilliant.
Well, I'm sorry if I ruined your radio show, Tim. I wasn't sorry. It was a plot all along to unseat you, sir, because I was jealous of your commercial and slick radio skills. That's what it was.
Yeah, I mean, let's face it. Let's wrap up when we're wrapping up the radio conversation here. You don't need to be so slick on that particular station, do you?
Well, it's more conversational. Ooh. And it was quite interesting.
Of course.
It was quite interesting, you saying to me, coming from commercial radio to BBC, one of your first comments was, wow, you have to say so much. You have to talk so much. And I was really surprised because for me, from a podcast YouTube background, the talking is the main thing.
Well, commercial radio, obviously, you would have what we would call 20-second speed link. And after your show, the program manager would sit you down And he would time you, and he would say, within that 20 seconds, I want you to get the station name, a little bit about yourself, and a tease to what's coming up, all within 20 seconds. And don't make it sound like it's rushed. So, yeah, when you're doing that for about 10 years, and then you go on to, I mean, it's every radio presenter's dream. You've got something there. You can just talk forever, and you can really accentuate words and use massive long words where normally you wouldn't have to. So it's hard to get out the frame of mind to do that. But I found I could do it. I didn't have any problems.
I thought you were brilliant, Tim. You adapted amazingly. I liked it. I have the opposite problem where I'm sitting there talking, and then I'll suddenly go, oh, blimey, like 8 minutes has gone by, and then you start to get told off. Like, people don't like it if you just talk for 10 minutes without playing a track or anything, but without someone in my ear going, hurry up, I'll just go into podcast and waffle mode. But speaking of producers saying stuff in your ear, I don't know if I did mention this. I've already told this story, Tim, but for your benefit, I spilt coffee all over myself, and one of the producers looked in my ear and looked really disapprovingly, and he said, this is just before we're about to go on air. He said, I have no faith in you to get through the next 2 hours of live radio. Good luck. And that was it. And I was like, oh, right, here we go. So that thing can just throw you off at the beginning.
Oh, I mean, I could tell you some stories from commercial radio, because honestly, some of the things, I mean, I could show you some of my bloopers. I mean, going into like the news juncture, and I remember one really funny story was when I was going into the news juncture at hours to get some headlines. It's pacey, it's commercial radio. So you literally come off the back of a song and you start talking, and then you're going to go and throw to the news person. But I had accidentally gone into the studio too, and I was trying to get a little bit of audio, the Benny Hill music, the Benny Hill music that goes.
Okay, stop before we get a YouTube takedown.
Yeah. So basically, I'd gone in there and I'd left that playing. Now, obviously, the news girl that went in there wasn't very technically inept, and she just normally goes in there and expects to just put the mic up. So anyway, it was like coming up to 4:30. Big thing. It's 4:30 across the East Coast. Here's the latest news with Christina Earle, and all I heard was it was. You could tell it was an accident. So it was all out of context.
Well, the chat room has a question for you, pros. They'd like to know how you do the talk during the instrumental part of a song and manage to stop exactly when the singer starts singing.
I'll let Tim field that. But firstly, I'm a presenter, not a DJ. Tim's a DJ, so he can answer that.
No. A presenter, thank you, darling. And the answer to that is very, very simple, because we have a screen that counts us down to the intro of the song. And no one, apart from maybe Spanners, would ever crash that, being a professional. Because there's nothing worse, right? When you're hearing your favourite song, right? Mm-hmm. I don't know, talking people, Sam Smith, Ed Sheeran, you can hear the intro, right? You're ready to hear him sing, and then someone crashes it because they haven't shut up at the right time.
So... okay, I will take that.
I think Spanners, to be fair, I remember you doing this on different occasions, and also doing the worst thing ever, talking over the end of the song that ends. The song in radio, if the song ends, let it end. All right, don't talk over the ending, because it might be someone's favourite song. So, and it's coming to the end, and it's a big power ballad.
So firstly, talking over the end is specifically because some people complained and emailed me and tweeted and called in and stuff, because people, you're right, they really hate it. But the more you tell me not to do something, I don't know. It's a character flaw. But if you complain about me talking over the end, I'm going to start talking from halfway through. So there's that. With the beginning, it was actually quite a shock when I saw that there was a timer on the intro. I thought that was part of the skill of the DJ to be able to. They just knew all the songs somehow and just timed it really well. And when there was a timer, I was like, the cloth has fallen from my eyes.
It's a skill, but you kind of get used to it. It's very easy. Like, for example, if you told me 10 seconds now, I could quickly do something then wrap it up.
It's not that easy. It's not that. He's lying. It's not that easy at all.
It is.
Matt.
Well, I was going to ask, is there a reason that you do that? Or is it just sort of an annoying radio tradition that has developed?
Yeah, good point.
What do you mean? Count up to the intro? We don't do it all the time. It depends on how the song is. If it's a song has a very slow naff intro, which some songs do, you would talk up to it. If a song's got a big beginning bit of instrumental, you probably wouldn't.
I'm trying to think of the one that I get people yell at me. It's got like a jazzy intro, but it's really long. It's like 40 seconds, but it's part of the song. I'll remember it in a moment. It'll come to me. But yeah, I don't know why we do it, but I just got told to do it, so I do it. But if it says like, oh, there's 15 seconds of intro, we say, okay, cool. Tune in later when we'll be talking to a man who is thinking of marrying his pet bees. And we'll be speaking to Tim, who's currently on fire. And now listen to this song from Aqua, Barbie Girl. And then I look at the timer and there's still 5 seconds left. And I don't want to fold. Then I want to be like, no, I want to get in. So I think 5 seconds. Okay, 5 seconds. Which reminds me, my favourite Aqua song is actually... Oh, the song started. Oh.
Have you just admitted that you've played Aqua Barbie Girl on the BBC local radio?
Yes, I'm not even embarrassed about that. That Danish pop band, they are fine musicians and they captured a perfect moment in pop history. So no, I'm not embarrassed, Tim.
But you won't hear the Venga Boys on BBC Local Radio, but you'll hear Aqua. What's wrong with the world?
Yeah, I know. Venga Boys are stupid.
Whoa, Venga Boys are back in town.
Okay, good. And that's the difference between me and Tim Linden. Tim, we're going to come off radio. Oh, yeah. Okay, in fact, let's see. Chat room, John Pollard. Hello, John. Saying about how it used to ruin mixtapes. And I thought that was part of the reason, Matt, that you talk over the intro. I thought it might be for commercial reasons because I remember my mum phoning in to a radio station in the very early 90s and requesting a song. And she said, would you mind not talking over the front because I taped them on my cassettes? And the presenter of SGR Colchester said, well, I'm sorry, miss, I don't, or ma'am, whatever, I don't think you're allowed to do that, and told her off on the radio for recording off of tape. I thought that's why it was.
Yeah, I think back in the day, I mean, I was born
ages ago, really late 70s, long time ago.
And this is, I don't know how. No, Spanish, you're not too much difference.
We'll never know.
No, we do know because we had this conversation, but I can't remember. But anyway, I remember obviously growing up, and the only time that you could get your favorite song on a tape that you would do would be recorded off the radio. And the worst thing would be is when the radio jock would come off the back of it or talk halfway through. But then things have changed, so you don't need to worry about it now. I think you listen to the radio more for the conversation than you would do the music.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much choice now. You can just go and listen to Spotify if you want music, and I will on occasion. I think just because I will listen to a lot of radio to keep in touch with what's happening on the station I work at. I listen to myself on radio, the person before me. So sometimes I'll just switch off and just put a playlist on the thing. But what I found in lockdown is, actually, I don't want that at the moment. I want, play Radio 2 or something, and you've got that conversation and you feel like part of a community still, and it kind of stops you going a bit nuts.
But I tell you what, I bet, Matt, you can hear the difference when you come over to the UK. Radio in America compared to the UK is completely different.
Oh, yeah. Radio here is all a massive commercial product that's been efficiently reduced for maximal marginal gain. So everything's like pre-recorded and syndicated, and the playlists are all the. It's really hard. The radio I listen to, mostly I listen to radio when I drive, when I go to gigs. So that means I don't listen to radio anymore because we're all not driving anywhere at the moment. But I listen to the jazz radio because they actually talk about stuff, and they talk about the music, and they talk about, and also just the voices they have. They have that. Yeah, them doing the thing, and back in the 70s when Herbie Hancock, they got like that.
But you see, just listening to that actually kind of draws you in. The way you did that, then it really does draw you in when you kind of like do it slowly. Yeah. You really, you can. It's amazing how to your ears, it's a very nice feeling.
That's the only reason I have Matt on, because having an American on makes it seem like the telly. That's the only reason I have an American on the show. Just gives us that bit of gravitas and class. But that talk radio scene isn't the same in the UK. And I think in the UK, it's been filled almost exclusively by podcasts. But there isn't really good talk radio stations. There's Talk Sport. But where do you have like a nice kind of general discussion type radio station? We don't really have
Five Live?
Yeah, apart from the amazing BBC 5 Live. But, government efforts aside, talk radio just isn't really a big thing in the UK. Thanks for trying to throw me under the bus.
That's okay. That's what I'm here for.
Still got
I miss
a BBC.
our banter. I really do miss our banter. We basically each week we used to just see who could destroy the other on air.
Who could undermine the other person's confidence the most? And I will say that maybe you wouldn't have made that comment about 5 Live if you still had a BBC contract. But that is probably just that's where I'm being a little more cautious than you at the moment. Tim. Let's talk about
that's what's good now, because if I don't, although I might not have the contract, but I still have the name badge, dude, so I can just walk in there and boom. I'm sure
I think that would be illegal, Tim. We're going to go back to some more of Tim's career in a moment, but I wanted to divert quickly to 2 things. First one is Tim based. Tim, you've been doing some music nights and some songy stuff and some streams whilst you've been locked down, and I had loads of fun watching them. Tell us about it.
Yeah. Okay. Right. Well, my wife is a singer, and I'm just talking whilst I'm loading this up because this is how multi-skilled I am. So obviously, because of lockdown, a lot of local singers can't go out and obviously sing in bars and pubs anymore. So a lot of people are doing kind of their gigs from home. So we're doing it from the kitchen, and we're doing it like every Saturday night. In fact, we're doing one tonight at 6:30. And so my wife does all the singing, and I just do all the video, obviously.
Yeah.
I'll just show you this. So this is...
Are we going to get a takedown notice from this?
No. I'm not going to play any audio. So there you go. So this is it live. I can put graphics on the screen. I had 2 cameras, and she's singing her heart out, and she'll do some shout outs. But it was great because we have about 3,000 or 4,000 people watching. So it's really good.
Really? Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah. So it's really like
I'm giving my wife a plug here. She'll be very happy.
Oh, no. Well, tell us how to get there. Tell us how to get... Your audience is bigger than ours, but please do tell people how to get there.
Hang on. So it's on... She'll love me for this. I don't know if she can hear me downstairs at the moment. But it's on Facebook. Okay. And that's is backwards.
That yeah, it's my fault. Sorry.
It's Gabby Starbuck, as in the coffee. Vocalist entertainer, and if you just put that in Facebook, you give it a like, and when she goes live, you'll be able to see your favorite songs.
I'm glad she kept her maiden name and didn't change from Starbuck to Linden. I think that was a smart commercial move, if I'm honest, Tim.
Well, she did, but obviously just for singing, she kept it.
Gabby Starbuck. Send us a link, and I'll tweet it later as well, Tim, and I'll tune in. It's nice to have some of these things as background music. On Saturdays, we've been tuning into Big Fish, Little Fish, which is a family rave. So they do like family raves in person where you can go with your kids to a rave, but they've been doing the online version. So that's been really cool. So all these people doing interesting things that you can have in the background. That's really cool. Gabby Starbuck. Good. Let's tune into that. Matt, you're going to give us some entertainment news, some ways to play with ourselves. I didn't catch what you were saying. I wasn't listening pre-show.
Play with ourselves.
Sure. Why not? My daughter took her Christmas, birthday, etc. money and bought herself a Nintendo Switch.
Oh, nice. Yeah, we nearly pulled the trigger on a Switch.
It was a fraught decision. There was much hand-holding because a lot of money. But we eventually bought it. And naturally, she got a game to go with it. And she now has gotten a second game, Animal Crossing. And again, it was a big expense. So she was concerned, but we talked her into it, and she's gotten the game, and she absolutely loves it. But now she's in debt to a raccoon.
Okay. These don't sound like great life lessons, Matt. I hear Animal Crossing all the time, and people say, "Oh, you've got to try Animal Crossing. It's great." I can't see the appeal. So what am I doing in Animal Crossing? And can I play this on an app also, or is this only on the Switch?
No, I think it's only on Switch. But honestly, I don't know because that's not really my wheelhouse.
Good. So that's it. So is that a recommendation? Does that count as a? I didn't know if that was going somewhere or if you'd finished.
No. It was just like a little anecdote from my life. As far as my entertainment is concerned, Ooh. I'm very happy to have discovered a YouTube thing called Dynamic Test Center.
Is this the
I'm
thing?
Sure you've never heard of them.
Is this the thing with the crushing?
I found out about them through Jalopnik. which is, if you're a car person, you probably know of this website. And they test vehicles. And the reason I found out about them is they had a YouTube video of a Mercedes Vito van loaded with, 2,000 kilograms worth of cement planters. And then they smashed it into a wall at about 50 kilometers an hour.
Why?
And it turns out they have a whole YouTube channel full of these videos. Things like, lorries smashing into things, campers being smashed into from behind. And it's been endlessly entertaining to go through and watch all their videos. So if you're just a little bit bored and looking for a way to distract yourself, just go to YouTube, Dynamic Test Center, hours of entertainment.
Matt, there is another YouTube. Well, there's loads of these. There's one where they shred stuff in this industrial metal shredder, and you think that's never going to do anything. Can they put it in there and it does it? And it's so satisfying to watch.
I like, my similar version to this is watching things melt in lava flows. So they'll put like a can of Red Bull in front of a pyroclastic flow.
But the thing is you expect something a little bit more exciting to happen, but nothing. When they put I think they put ammo in there before, and you would expect. I remember them putting some ammo in there, and I was like, "Oh, this is gonna be good." Nothing.
No, well, yeah, it's sort of the can melts and it sort of fizzes out a bit, but still, it's very therapeutic in a way. Like in our house, we'll often put on the Netflix fake fireplace. So it's 4K fake fireplace. Have you seen that? Where you put it on Netflix and it's logs burning, and you can turn up like the crackling sound and stuff. So that's kind of therapeutic. We have that on in the background.
Just quickly talking about Netflix, has anybody seen this new trend that has come out today that people are using Netflix to try and predict their future?
No. Oh God. No. Is this going to be up there with 5G coronavirus?
No, this is weird, right? And I'm trying to get my head around it because I've looked it up how you do it, right? And if those people out there that obviously are completely and utterly bored and they want to see what their future, it's a bit like a magic 8 ball. You can have a little bit of fun with it. So basically, it's called the new Psychic TV Challenge. And some guy started it, and there's a video on how to do it, right? So basically, you load up Netflix and you put the initial of your first name, right, into the search bar. And then when all the results have come up, you pick a number between 1 and 10, and then count that number in the results going from left to right. Are you with me?
I'm going to say yes.
Yeah. So then you click on the show and then pick another number between 1 and the latest season that it's on. And if it has more than one season, like if it's got a show of 12 seasons, you pick a number between 1 and 12, right? You then need to select a number between 1 and a number of episodes there are in the season that you've selected.
I'm there. Okay. So
that number is the episode you're using. So you click on it, and then you've got to pick one final number between 1 and however many minutes the episode length is.
Okay.
And then you skip through the episode to that number, and whatever happens in the show at that point when you press play is your fortune. And people are just feeling themselves doing it.
I like how it would build up though. Like Matt, I would like it like, you suddenly you go, I've got Breaking Bad is the program you've selected, and you're like, this isn't going to go well.
There will be entertainment in my future. Now, that sounds very complicated.
It does, but people have got a lot of time on their hands. So they're going, okay, I'm going to give this a go.
A, do you have anything lazier? And B, what did your fortune got spat out for you?
Okay, so I was watching my favorite show box set that's not on anymore, HBO series Entourage, and I skipped to a rather raunchy scene. That's clearly my future.
Well, that's ridiculous because you are a married father of 2 children. So
1.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I gave you an extra
there you
kid.
go. That's where the other one's coming from.
Oh, see, you two both stopped at 1 kid, and that was correct. That was the correct thing.
We haven't stopped. We haven't stopped.
Haven't you?
We haven't stopped.
Oh no! Is this news? Is this breaking news?
No, it's not breaking news. She just wants another one.
Oh right, okay. But you can still have a hand in that, Tim. Like, you don't have to kiss the pretty lady. You can just abstain. You are involved in the process. I'll explain to you.
You're married. You know the answer that I cannot give you right now.
Well, the answer is we don't really get a choice, do we? I never got a choice.
No,
I just got told.
Not, no.
I just got told.
We just do as we're told.
Yep, but we won't go down that route. We spent all of last week whinging about our lovely, lovely terrible, horrible wives. Let's go down a different direction. In fact, no, we'll stay with fortune telling just for a moment. Stay with fortune telling, right? My mother used to run a tarot card stall at all our school fetes. So, you know, when you're like 9, 10 and your parents suddenly become the most embarrassing things in the world, this is the time that my mother decided that all at the school fetes she would volunteer. She would set up a tent, like an oldie type tent. You'd go in there and she would be in like full gypsy costume. And she is a lady of dark complexion, so she looked all mysterious. And she would be like, yes, I am coming from the east. And she'd put this really terrible accent. I'm coming from the east to tell your fortune. And she'd have this globe in the middle. And then she would read your tarot cards. But not with like, they flip over a card and there's this beautifully rendered image of like death. Or this beautifully crafted fish. She would just use like, £1 from like Pound Saver, just a normal deck of cards. And then you would ask the blessed cards some questions, and it's still got a Pound World sticker on it as she's opening it up. And then she'd say, they go, okay, will I find love? And then she'd just go, duh, duh, duh. 3 of hearts. Yes. And she would just completely make it up. But it was all about like the drama and the theatre of it. And then everyone would be like, oh, I saw you. I got my fortune told by your mum. And you go, oh, God, it was horrible, horrible experience.
Well, as they say, if you believe Derren Brown, they do say about people that can read other people's fortune, it's cold reading. That's what it is.
It is cold reading. It's also a lot of the time just straight up lies, Matt. Isn't it? It's just lies for money.
Yes, I'm enjoying. Trevor in the chat room says his mom used to volunteer at the 7th grade dances, and it was horrible. And Tom Wheatley, regarding our previous topic, suggests that he sits on lots of radiators these days.
Who?
Yeah, there we go. You got it.
Yeah,
all right, good.
That's a good one. Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
But we understood.
Matt, should I laugh along and as if I got it as well? Because I haven't got it yet. Yeah. Nice one.
There you go.
Nice one, chat room. Go to YouTube, subscribe to us, Remain Indoors, or download us on your podcatcher of choice. If we're not there at the moment, then you can do us a little favor. You can go and get the RSS feed from our Missed Apex website. So missedapexpodcast.com/Remain Indoors. And there's like a link there. It's called RSS feed. You paste that into the search bar of your app. So say Google podcasts if we're not there. And you're actually helping us register onto the apps that we aren't already registered on, Matt. I think that's how it works.
Yeah. You know what I'm really loving about this show today?
Tim.
Yes, absolutely. Having one of your colleagues on, because you always bust on about, that's very Radio Pro. That's exactly how a Radio Pro does it. And now I've got Tim as a comparison. And I'd just be like, I think Tim would have done that better.
Yeah, or I can tell you if he's talking a load of rubbish. By the way, if we're plugging things, I just need to plug this. Me and the wife have our own YouTube channel. It's called Living with the Lindens. Feel free to check us out. It's really good. Again, that's mirrored, but yeah. Sorry.
Chat room would like to know, is this the same on Spotify?
I have to do some magic stuff with Spotify, so bear with me. I will get there. Go check out Living with the Lindens on YouTube. I like Tim. He's all right. He's good people. We're never lost for anything to chat about. And one of the reasons we're never lost for anything to chat about is because Tim is one of these people who can professionally fill air. And now, I don't know if this is entirely unfair, Tim, but you could talk. There's some weird crackle coming through. You could happily talk with no content. So you're one of these people that can just fill airtime very well. It's a trade. It's a skill. I'm not saying you're talking rubbish or talking hot air. I'm just saying if there's 2 minutes dead air now, you're fine.
And I'm sure you will be, because you spiel it off and you talk about crumpets, you do a very professional job. You can make anything. You could just anything that comes to mind. And this is where I learn, actually, not necessarily on radio, because with commercial radio, you don't need to fill unless something really bad was happening where it's happened a couple of times where your computer system would crash. So you'd have no songs or nothing to go to. And you'd have to keep talking whilst rebooting, on air at the same time. But I've done that obviously on radio many times. But I used to do these quiz channels
yes!
that used to be on
late night
satellite
TV.
cable, whatever, and they were really it was just a paycheck basically. But you'd have to sit there and there'd be something on the screen that would say, add up the numbers, okay, and it would get people to phone in. It would make the company a lot of money. I'm not going to say it used to be ITV, but there you go. So it used to make them lots of money, and you'd get a caller through every 30 minutes. Every 30 minutes.
Oh, that is murder.
Yeah, oh yeah. So basically what you do is you couldn't talk about that for all that time, because it's basically saying, give me a call, just add up the numbers. But whilst you're there, it's a bit like a podcast or something. You're just keeping the conversation going. So you would have to talk about stuff, random stuff, just to keep people entertained. Crazy. So, it's a bit like the roulette TV channels as well, although it's a little bit more structured with the live roulette TV channels, because every 30 seconds they do a spin anyway. So, but they try and keep the conversation going.
Tim, I'm not being funny, the roulette channels, they usually use a pretty lady, whereas on the call-in ITV thing, it was you. Did you think that might have been part of the reason why one gets more calls than the other? Just guessing.
Okay, I'll let you into a secret, because the channel doesn't exist anymore. But at one point, it was late night, right? And we went live. We had a cable TV channel, and then we went live on an ITV channel. And when that switched over, the call volume jumped. And in my ear, my producer was saying to me, I hope I don't get in trouble for saying this, but he was like, he would tell me how many calls are coming in per minute. And obviously, they're all spending money to get through.
Yeah.
And the number that I won't say the number, but I was shocked when he said, "This is great, Tim. We've just had this many calls come through. Keep going, keep going." And I was just like, "Okay, I don't know what else to say, but okay, we're going to be talking about pineapples. Aren't pineapples? When you pick a pineapple up, it's so weird. It feels weird on your hand. What's your weird phobias? Do you know what I mean? You just go on stuff like that." So it was like, but I tell you what, it did used to pay well.
Did it?
Yes.
You did shopping channels as well, briefly?
I did a couple of shopping channels, yeah. Again, they're really tough. I mean, like I remember one item that I used to sell was a gemstone globe. You ever seen those?
No.
You've never seen a gemstone globe?
No, so I guess I could Google it.
It's one of these like posh globe, and it looks a bit like it's made out of marble, but it's kind of made from precious gemstones, and all these gemstones are mined from the countries that are on there, and there's a compass on there, and it's gold, and you have to talk about it. You have to sex it up to sell it. So people, I mean, like some of the things we had to sell were ridiculous, but you had to kind of just go into the intuit, whatever the word is, detail, and sell it.
Intricate.
Like if you've seen The Wolf of Wall Street, you'll know when he says, "Sell me this pen," and one guy goes, "Well, it's a pen, and it does this," and he goes, "Sell me this pen." And he basically was a play on words, and he basically just took the pen away and said, "Have you got a pen?" And he went, supply and demand. It's all stuff like that. So it's all getting through, and it's all about the hands.
Is it?
Hands. Yeah.
Tell us about the hands. God, what have you got to do with the hands?
Well, it's all about the hands when you're selling something. So, right, this is just laying on the bed. This is not mine. This is the wife's. Put some lavender cream bath. Now, for example, if you're going to, and I'm not saying I'm a professional at doing this by any chance, but I'm just going from what I used to be told. But if you're going to sell something like this, how else can you sell it other than just saying you've got some purpley liquid in here, and you put it in the bath and it goes all soapy? What do? You do this. You go. So you take it, the lid feels really, really well made. You know, It's really soft on the hands, really round, really easy to open. And don't you just love that when you open up something like to put in the bath and you get that whiff first of all? See what I mean? So you're playing it like that. And then you would say, you could even go to the lengths of saying, and just the design of this bottle. I mean, the design, look at the silver and the gold there. It makes it look elegant. It feels nice.
Spanners is ordering one for Mrs. Spanners right now.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean? I've just
amazing.
sold that. And this actually does smell really nice.
Tim, you're not getting a paycheck from that lavender company. But me and the kids actually enjoy watching the shopping channel because we watch them to see like how far they can stretch things out. And, you know, it's amazing. Like there was a guy who was doing a pressure washer, and he said, if you've got your car muddy because maybe you've been walking around a reservoir or by a river or any body of water, really, it could be a country lane or a forest that you'd been driving through, or just normal splashes from the side of the road. You go, geez, we get it. Some kind of dirty moisture has got on the car. But they have to kind of string it out. So there with the bottle, they go, this purple liquid. Obviously, you can get like blue liquids and yellow and green liquids as well. And they're just lists of things.
You must have been to a market stall, right, here in the UK. And this is probably going back a few years. I don't do this too much now, where you would have a car bonnet. You'd go around a market and there'd be a car bonnet with all these liquids. And this guy's there to go, come on, everybody. How dirty is your car? Why am I going into American accent? I don't know. How dirty is your car? Look at this bonnet. Have you ever had this, insects that you can't get off, bird poop and all this splattered? Well, I'll tell you what, look at this. One, and it's gone.
Yeah.
And it'd make people go, oh my God, I want that. I need that for my car.
Yeah, I need that. We were watching a knife sharpener being sold. I think it was on QVC. And this woman, she had the cucumber right on the thing with this knife. And she's like, look at this knife. And she's she's like pushing the knife into the cucumber and said, look, it's not doing anything. Like her claim was that she was struggling to cut this cucumber with this knife. And then she's like, well, now look at it. I'm going to do the thing and it only takes a few seconds. And now look, it's slicing through easier. And then the co-host, Tim, went, well, years ago, you'd have a guy come round and sharpen your knives for you. And the woman went, yeah, that's right. But you don't need that anymore because you've got your own knife sharpener now. I'm like, how is there a school where they all get trained to do this?
Well, I tell you what, I was sold on this American shopping channel late at night that used to sell this thing called the Magic Bullet. You heard of that? Where you can pretty much blend anything. I mean, it was truly amazing. Anything they had in the house, they put in this blender and then they drank it. And you're like, look at all the health benefits. Let's throw some nuts in there. I've got some broccoli. Shove that in there as well.
Crayons.
And drink it. It's oh my God, I'm getting all these health benefits as well. And it's all for this. Amazing. I bought one.
See, Matt, though, America invented this and foisted it upon the world.
Yeah.
I only have 2 words for you. Flex tape.
You'll have to explain that. Flex tape. I don't think you've
seen the flex tape. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, you have to go look up flex tape then. Sorry.
Yeah, it definitely seemed like it was. Definitely seems like an American phenomenon. Obviously, famously on Friends, they had Joey starring on a milk opener thing where they're like, "Oh, can you not open milk?" And he spills it everywhere, and then he has to put the little stabby thing in that makes it easy to pour.
Hang on. So flex tape is this amazing tape, right? If you've got a water leak, right? And I've seen this on YouTube, I think, where there's water gushing out and they put the tape on it and it stays. Yeah. Oh my God, I want this.
Yeah, see? You're so easily led.
Look, there's a photo of look at that. £3.
Flex tape. Okay, have you used that, Matt? Does it work as advertised?
No, I haven't had occasion to use it yet, but sure, I would absolutely buy some if I saw it.
Yeah, even though you'll never probably use it, you just need it and you want to use it, but you probably won't end up using it.
All right, chat room. Tom is saying, can we have an example of spanners trying to sell Aqua Dragons? I get it. It wasn't the most interesting story in the world. I'm just really proud of our Aqua Dragons. We have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of them at the moment. And the only thing is the kids haven't got bored of the Aqua Dragons yet. So they're actually feeding them and claiming credit, whereas I want to take over the Aqua Dragons. Let's have one little news item before we go. Tim, I hope we're not keeping you from anything.
No. I was actually just looking at these messages coming on YouTube, and Connor said flex tape can stick fire to water. How does that work?
I think, what, Connor? Is that Connor that does iRacing with us, Connor? I think he may be mocking us, as the Irish are wont to do. One news item before we go, Tim. In China, a girlfriend's nagging motivates a thief. I quite like this news story. There are loads of really cool news stories come out of China. I think I've just discovered Chinese news, and this may be a theme going forward. Seeking a place to get away from his girlfriend's incessant demands to marry her, a thief in Shanghai told police he wanted to get arrested, and that's why he tried to steal a Bluetooth speaker worth $285. I just wanted some alone time, said the man, and some time to stay away from my girlfriend, and he wanted to get arrested so he could spend time in the interrogation room because his girlfriend had been pushing very hard for him to get married, which made me think, Tim, of the most extreme things that people must be going through at the moment just to get that little bit of private time. I've started a whole new podcast project and suffered speaking to you for an hour just so that I can be in the shed away from my family.
Yeah, well, I have to agree with you, and that's exactly what has just been heaven, kind of, by having a little bit of me time in the bedroom alone, talking to an American,
a random American,
and an Englishman who's wearing a California t-shirt.
Yep, I like.
Which is just up the coast from you.
Which is just up the coast from you. Exactly. This was in honor of the Norfolk.
Oh, hang on. What does mine say? Hollister, California.
Oh, does it? Oh, there you go. That's a coincidence. My problem is that because we're doing this on a tri-weekly basis, I'm actually running out of t-shirts now. I have very few clothes. And for Missed Apex, it's not a problem because I always just wear a Missed Apex uniform on the stream, Matt.
How is Miss Apex? I've only met her once. I think I've only met
Missed Apex.
Mrs.?
No. Missed Apex is the name of our Formula One show. Thanks for checking it out, and thanks for your support, Tim.
I thought you were talking about your wife.
No, Miss Spanners. Mrs. Spanners. Well, I always call her Mrs. Spanners, and then that became a problem when she started watching that TV program where they all wear the red cloaks and women have no rights and stuff. I think it was called American Midwest. No, it was called... Oh, come on, chat room. This is why we have a chat room. Handmaid's Tale. That was it.
Famous novel, Margaret Atwood.
There we go.
You go.
So instead, I've read some Margaret Atwood, actually. Very, very dark.
Yeah.
And like dystopian futures and stuff. But she started watching Handmaid's Tale, where the ladies were not called by their name. So your wife wouldn't be Amanda. It would be of Matt, right? So me referring to her as Mrs. Spanners was very kind of Spanners. So she objected to it. And then the more she objected to it, the more I did it because it's a character flaw. But yes, I have started trying to refer to her as Nicola and not just Mrs. Spanners, which may come across as derogatory.
That's okay. When in my wife's Twitter feed, I'm Mr. Weaver. So.
Oh, really?
You know.
So she's taking your same.
Ms. Trumpets.
She's taking away
on Missed Apex. So I think it's just like it's your branding. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, fair enough. Good. Tim, you'll come back and hang out with us on Remain Indoors, won't you?
I would love to. It gives me a bit of peace and quiet, and it's I mean, this whole lockdown thing is tough because obviously you just spend it with the people in your household, and unless you go to the shops, you don't get a big conversation going on. So it's actually really nice. So thank you for letting me be part.
You're welcome, but remember, a podcast guest spot is not just for the lockdown. It's like the puppies. A puppy's not just for Christmas, okay? So don't toy with our emotions, Tim. If you're only ever going to come down during the lockdown, just tell us now. If this is like basically a lockdown booty call for broadcasting, just let us know.
A lockdown booty call. I'm here whenever you need me, but only in lockdown.
Oh, I go. It's not often the show title comes up that late, but I think we may have found it. Tim Linden, go check out his stream tonight by searching for Gabby Starbuck on Facebook. Some good... Did I say it wrong?
Yeah. But that's not my stream. It's my wife's stream. She's a singer. If you want to hear some live music in your home on Facebook, it's Gabby Starbuck, Starbuck, like the coffee, and then vocalist entertainer. I know it's a bit of a mouthful. Gabby Starbuck, vocalist entertainer, all one word. Search for it on Facebook. Give it a like, and you'll be able to see when we're live. But also, feel free to check out our YouTube channel, which we only started last year. We're doing some more videos, and there's a new one coming up this week, and that's called Living with the Lindens, and that's spelled Lindons.
Like the chocolate?
No.
Oh, okay. Not like the chocolate. I felt like...
Lind chocolate.
Yeah, isn't that
Lindons. No, it's not the same.
Lindens
You're going to confuse people anyway. I'll put it in the chat.
Lindens chocolate. It's definitely... No, I'm getting London's chocolate. Tim, I felt like my initial plugging of your wife's stream was correct because it's your stream because you run it. So I feel like that was an incorrect challenge, but I'm glad you got the plug in. Gabby Starbuck. And Tim is at Tim Linden on Twitter, probably.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's that.
I mean, Twitter... can we, before we go, I remember this conversation that we used to do on the radio. Sorry, Matt. But how many Twitter followers do you have on your personal
Oh, okay. Are we doing
not
that?
the APAC, not the the F1 thing, but on your personal.
Is this a competition between you and me? I have 3,484.
On your personal?
On my personal one, yeah.
Okay.
Were you hoping it would be a lot lower and you would win?
Yes, I did. Yeah,
okay. So just for the record, what is your magic number?
I'm just having a look because I think I may have gained a few more.
Okay, I think that was...
No, I only have 1,500.
Okay. I mean, as far as displays of dominance go, that landed pretty hard. So, on that victory, Matt, don't worry, we don't have to plug us. I pre-recorded a thing that says where to find us and do things. And the show, though, on Twitter is @IndoorsRemain, which I've decided was not a mistake. And it was not just because Remain Indoors was taken and they suggested one and I just blindly clicked on it. No, I'm doubling down. It's a branding thing. Once you remember it, you won't forget it. That's what I'm going for, Matt. @IndoorsRemain. Meant to do it.
At least you didn't like hit it when it's Remain Indoors 00.
Oh no,
567.
That's pathetic. If you're going to do that or do Remain_Indoors, you may as well throw yourself off a Norfolk cliff. I hate people who do that. Oh, my name's taken. I'm going to add 785 because I lack all originality. It's like getting a T-shirt with a joke on it. It's like, I've got no personality.
For your email, you have to. For your email,
no.
I can't believe there is so many people out there with my name. I have to have numbers at the end of mine. Sorry.
Just don't use your real name. Just make up a ridiculous name. That's fine.
Oh, yeah, that looks professional. Yeah, hi. Can you think of me for hiring me for a job? What's your email address? My email address is spankwithwindows@gmail.com.
Your missus is the name of a coffee at the end. And this show's gone on far too long because we're just going to insult each other now. And we put up a facade of politeness for about 50 minutes and now it's gone and there's nothing left to do but to roll.
I have to apologize to Matt because Matt, probably a lot of this stuff's going completely over your head.
I'm just filing it away for later use on other shows.
Yeah,
so,
I think
no, by all means, go right ahead and natter at each other. It's delightful.
That's okay. Well, I'll need Matt more tomorrow because Nick Alexander's on and it's like 4 a.m. for him in Seattle. So I'm going to need you, Matt, more than ever. Let's get out of here. This has been Remain Indoors. I hope you're all doing well, keeping safe, looking after each other and looking after yourselves. Talking all the way up to the fancy bit at the end. I peaked way too early. Oh, way too early. Jeez. Remain Indoors. Oh, no, I didn't. Tim would have done it better. Tim, why don't you do your really professional version? I'll play that music and you do what like a professional DJ would do on the way out of a show. How's that?
I'm not a DJ.
Presenter. Sorry. Okay, 15 seconds.
I don't know how long it lasts. How
15 seconds. Exactly.
How many?
Let's say exactly 15 seconds. And if it's wrong, I'll apologize. How's that?
Okay. So thank you very much for joining in the show today. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to follow us on Twitter. You can also catch up with other episodes on our YouTube channel, where you can see even more wonderful guests. Stay safe, protect the NHS, and we'll see you next time.
Oh, man. Oh, that was really good.
The thing is, I didn't actually have a countdown, so I just was...
Yeah. I was seeing if you could do it without the countdown. I feel... Whatever, I'll just fade this out and it'll go to the pre-recorded bit that says